There are no Mondays, Fridays, Sundays, holidays on this railroad. It's 365 days a year. We're on call every day, 24 hours a day. So we work.
It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
The sentiment amongst the entire workforce at BNSF is that we're tired, we're exhausted. You've taken everything you can in terms of the quality of our lives. We're in the fight for our lives, and I believe that's true.
This is going to isolate people from their families, from their friends, from their communities. What's this going to do to their mental health? What's this going to do to their emotional health? This policy looks like it was written by a cadre of sociopaths. They have no idea of what they're doing. Furthermore, they don't care.
We love our jobs. In many cases, love the railroad, love the work. It's been the most empowering job of my life. I wouldn't trade it for anything. At the same time, we work for sort of nameless, faceless, huge, in many cases now multinational corporations of great wealth and power. The rail industry has in many cases robbed many of us of dignity and self-respect. The rail industry at one point was made up of hundreds and hundreds of different carriers. At one point, I think about 40 years or so ago, there was maybe 35 Class 1 railroads. Today there's 7. When I say Class 1, I mean the big rail carriers that set the tone for the industry, the ones that move roughly 90% or more of the freight that's moved in the United States.
Back when I first hired out, we had 5 men on a train. Now they're down to 2, and they're trying to go to 1.
And now they're asking us to, for those of us in train and engine service, to operate trains on our own, all by ourselves, 12 hours a day, in many cases 6, 7 days a week, in wilderness areas, rural areas, in all sorts of weather conditions, all by ourselves.
They say it's a minor dispute. How minor is it when your whole life is dictated by the whims of a rail carrier? How is it a minor dispute when your physical, mental, and emotional health is adversely affected?
These corporations have been making record profits for years. They brag about it, the record low operating ratio, the record high stock price, the record salaries of the CEOs. The American people have had enough of this. They're sick of it. And so if and when there was a national strike, which there very well could be, we would have the American people on our side. I'm convinced of that.
I was involved in 7 crossing accidents that tend to, they tend to really play with your mind a lot. Imagine getting called to go to work at 2 o'clock in the morning. You're on a train out, maybe coming into a small town. All of a sudden you hit a car. You have mild forms of PTSD from those. And when something like that, something stressful would happen, you could take some time off and get away from this. With this policy, it doesn't look like you're going to be able to take off much more than a couple of times a year for a day or 2 at a time.
Studies show that being that fatigued is worse than me getting behind the wheel of a 2-ton vehicle and driving with a legal limit of alcohol, above the legal limit. My reactions are slower with 18,000 tons of volatile freight behind me. That should scare everybody. It scares me.
if we were to go on strike in the coming months and years, we desperately need your support and your solidarity and your understanding that our struggle is, in effect, your struggle. Just because you work as a teacher and I work as a railroader and he works as a trucker and she works as a nurse and he works in a coffee shop, we're all part of the working people that make society run. We're all part of the working class that produces the wealth. And without us, nothing could happen. And so when one of us is under attack, we're all under attack.